Test. Okay. First off, good evening and thank you for coming and dodging the raindrops and falling trees and the hail and the tornadoes and the flood and all the things. It was great to see everybody here tonight. Thanks for coming to our earliest ever last band concert for a school year. And we got a lot that we're going to squeeze in, and so I don't want to talk a lot. Normally I don't talk before we start. This group needs a little introduction. With the craziness of this year, the way that things have unfolded, we put our jazz ensembles back onto this concert, something we used to do long ago and far away. So you guys are in for a little treat tonight. It's going to keep us a little bit later, and I'll apologize that much for that, but I think you're going to enjoy it. Behind you is Jazz 2. It's more of a jazz combo, which is just fine. But the first piece, I want to tell you about both the pieces that they're going to play. The first piece in your program says it's called Improvisation number 3.14. It's just a play on fun things like pi. But this group has been working really, really hard on the fundamentals of jazz and improvisation. So what you're going to witness is a full, free improvisation. Before we started tonight, we determined a couple of things about this. This is going to be in the key of B flat. We know who's going to start it, we know who's going to end it, and then it will last about 3.14 minutes. Other than that, they are going to interact with each other. They are free to do what they want, which for some of you is like they're just going to make stuff up. Yeah, they are. But hopefully it's going to be musical, and it's going to be artistic, and they're going to be able to interact with each other and that kind of thing. So it's going to feature all of them, and then our second piece is going to be Mr. PC. Jazz standard, and they're all going to solo on this. So this has been a really cool adventure with these folks. Some of them have never improvised before, played jazz before, and we hope you enjoy it. Yeah, when they're done, we'll bring our Jazz 1 up, and they're going to play 3 charts for you. We'll introduce those as we go. So thanks for coming. This is improvisation number 3.14. Riff that featured Claire Nigan on the tenor saxophone and Abby Underwood on the alto saxophone. Okay, our next selection is titled Haitian Fight Song. It's going to feature Wayne Condon on bass and soloist Abby Holmes on saxophone, Bennett Tank on trumpet, and Charles Johnny on the drum set. No? Haitian Fight Song. All right, we have one left for you after this. We're going to take about a quick, not really an intermission, but we're going to reset the stage, move the jazz stuff out, concert band setup going. We'll get the varsity band up here. We'll make this as quick as we can, keep the concert moving along. This is a fun chart that these guys have been working on. It's entitled Cabeza de Queso, which literally translates to cheesehead. And it's fun because we're in Wisconsin, but not only is it, we're in Wisconsin. It was written by a famous Wisconsin composer, Fred Sturm, who was the director of jazz studies at Lawrence University in Appleton for a great number of years. And he had been at the Eastman School of Music and was like, yeah, this is fun and all, but I miss home. So he quit Eastman and moved back to Appleton and picked up the job at Lawrence. It was an absolutely prolific jazz composer. Sadly, he passed away a few years ago, way too soon. But before he did, he was commissioned to write this piece for one of the biggest advocates for music education in the state. Her name was Linda Peterson, and she was an employee at the Wisconsin School Music Association and Wisconsin Music Educators Association for a great number of years. It was just a force to be reckoned with. Her love of music and music education is transcending time and all of those fun things. Sadly, she was diagnosed with cancer, and so after her passing, Mr. Stern was commissioned to write this piece, and it received its world premiere at the State Music Convention with the State Honors Jazz Ensemble playing it for the first time. So all kinds of interconnections and intertwining, and then of course the Cheesehead title, so that's kind of cool. This one's going to feature Abby Holmes. We appreciate your support tonight. Hope you've enjoyed the jazz ensembles. Make the transition as quick as we can. We'll get the varsity band up here on stage. This is Cheesehead. This is the Varsity Band. This is our freshman group. The first tune, Summer Resounding by Brian Balmages. It's one that they've really dug their teeth into and had a lot of fun with. The second tune that we're going to play is entitled Greek Folk Song Suite, and it's not in your program, but there's 3 movements to it, so hold your applause till the end. This is definitely a piece that showcases how hard these guys have worked, because if I had pulled this one out back in September and said, hey, let's give this a sight read, and you're going to play this for a concert, I think half the band would have quit. But they've persevered through this year. They've worked really hard. They've come so far. And it's one of the things that I love about our varsity band each year is that the trajectory that they get on from the beginning of the year to the end of the year is phenomenal. And so I can't speak for them. I've had a ton of fun working on this with these guys. I think that they've enjoyed it. We'll see. Third movement's a lot of fun. Second movement's pretty beautiful. First movement, you'll see it. It's a good time. We're going to play Greek Folk Song Suite. We'll get the symphonic band up here and go from there. So, Greek Folk Song Suite.
slightly scared of this being a little loud tonight. Good evening. Thank you so much for coming out. We know it was a little spooky this evening, but thank you for being here. We truly, truly appreciate all of the support. I realize that we may not know who I am if we didn't come to the first concert that I was at. My name is Mrs. Danielle Bergstrom. I'm new here. I started in February, and I have the great pleasure of working with the symphonic band behind me. That first piece that you heard this evening was East of the Sun and West of the Moon by John Prescott. And this next song that we will be playing is Bloom by Stephen Bryant, which is perfectly timed for this concert as it depicts spring, talks about roots taking hold, frost melting, trees blooming, leaves taking hold. Please enjoy. session is transitioning into this piece. Despite a challenging start to this semester, our students really pressed on with class and brought their best to rehearsal every day. And I could not be more proud of them and the things that they have accomplished this school year during the short time that I've gotten to work with them. For our final piece this evening, we will be playing Fracas by Randall Standridge. Fracas, by definition, is a noisy disturbance or quarrel. It was inspired by the horn bands and jazz musicians of the 60s and 70s, and if you know anything about jazz, you know what a fine line they walk between music and pure cacophony. This piece has memorable and crazy horn riffs, exciting percussion, and unbridled rhythmic energy, and it just felt right for us to perform this as our final piece this evening. After the symphonic band, we will have Wind Symphony join us up on stage.
Thank you very, very much. This is our Wind Symphony. This is our 10th through 12th graders, addition-based top group, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. That first piece, Niles Dance, was written by David Holsinger and written in honor of his son, Niles. Mr. Holsinger wrote 3 dances this way: Niles Dance, Grayson Dance, and Haven Dance, trying to model the personalities of each of his children in the piece. And so, as you can tell, Niles was a very subdued, laid-back kind of individual. And we just thought that it would be a fun way to start the concert, our portion of the concert. Our next piece is pretty straightforward as well. Actually, I will be brutally honest and tell you I completely stole this idea. I've been going to a lot of concerts my whole career and going and taking ideas and that kind of thing. And I recently was at a concert at the University of Wisconsin Eau Claire, was inspired by their bands, and I picked out this piece and I told the band, we're going to play this. And we're going to play it a little differently. We're going to play it in the rounds. We're going to surround our audience with music. Also, I'm not going to conduct. I'm going to put this on you guys. You are talented enough. You are good enough musicians. You can do this completely on your own. You don't need me to do this. And so this piece has been about them growing as an ensemble and as musicians and to connect with the rest of their peers across the hall. I also told them that we were going to play this memorized. And after a few of them were starting to stage a coup, I pulled back on that part. So we're not memorized tonight. But that's okay. This is still going to be absolutely wonderful. They're killing this piece. And I'm excited for you to hear it because I get to be one of the audience tonight. I get to sit back and relax and enjoy Dusk by David Bryan. And so I hope that you enjoy it as much as I think you're going to. And as soon as this one's done, we'll transition back. We're going to give out some awards, then we'll play the last piece for the night. We hope you enjoyed the Niles Dance, and I know you're going to enjoy it. I need to make sure that our percussion are all set. Looks like the winds are ready to go, so as soon as they're ready, we'll give the cue. Away they go. So tonight, before we play our last song, as tradition would hold, we're going to pause and recognize all kinds of people. We'll go through this as quick as we can, but with this being our last concert, it's important that we take a few moments and celebrate the accomplishments that we've had in this year to make sure that the people who have done some incredible things get the recognition. So actually, Mr. DLC, if you wouldn't mind, can we bring the house lights back up for a few moments? He's cursing me right now. I heard that. What we want to do is, with the members of our symphonic band, our varsity band, our wind symphony, is that at concerts like this, you see the finished product, but there are a lot of other things that go into our program besides the concert bands. The concert bands are our central component and what we base everything off of, but there are a lot of things that happen in addition to that, a lot of possibilities, a lot of activities. And so, if you would please, we're going to go through this really quick. If you were a member of last fall's summer and fall's marching band, would you please stand up so that you can see how many people were involved with that? Very nice. And then we're going to be here all night, so I've got a few more of those to go through. Hold your applause to the end, and then we can go nuts with thunderous applause. If you were involved in either of the jazz ensembles, you heard them tonight, but stand up, jazz folks. Wonderful. If you were involved in the pit orchestra for the musical, would you please stand? Good job, Sheriff. If you participated just a couple weeks ago in district solo and ensemble, yeah. And would you remain standing if you are going on to state solo and ensemble on Saturday? Yeah. Would you please stand if you were involved in either middle level or state level honors, orchestra, band, choir, any of the state honors ensembles last fall in Madison? Bravo. And would you also please stand at this point if you have been selected to participate in state honors this next fall in Madison? Yeah. So we have a strong representation in the ensembles with all the different things going on. It's tough to keep track of. It's tough to be a part of, and it takes a big commitment, but it goes much farther than just what you see on stage here tonight, not to mention the hours and hours and hours of practice that they try to avoid, and then the few hours that they do put in. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. That's a good idea. Would you please give them all a big round of applause for their participation? Tonight's the last concert for some of these folks. They're getting too old to be here, so we're kicking them out. In all honesty and sincerity, I get the question a lot. Wow, you've got 25 seniors who are losing out of this program. That's got to be really difficult. And I tell them, yeah, it is. But since September 1st, 2022, the day's been counting down to their graduation day, coming just about a month away. And so, yes, we're going to miss them. But as I tell them every year, it's what's supposed to happen. It's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get here, make an impact, get better, and then move on. So tonight we're honoring our seniors in their last concert. And so what I'd like to do, if you missed it, the slideshow I'm hoping will be running out in the commons area, in the atrium on your way out. You can see adorable baby pictures and then really cool senior pictures. I think most of them are actually their baby pictures. I don't think we had to Google baby pictures for anybody this year. So thanks to the families for participating in that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through this really quick. I'm going to introduce, we are going to introduce all of our seniors tonight. As we read your name and your plans for the future, would you please stand up and stay standing? And then we will again go absolutely berserk and give you the thunderous applause that you deserve at the end. So hold your applause. 25 names and things that they are doing. So Owen Ashwood is going to the University of Wisconsin River Falls to study in psychology. Evelyn Bakken is enlisting in the U.S. Army. Laurel Bostrom is interning at Trout Lake Camps. Benny Briggs is off to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, majoring in electrical engineering and music. Chance Buckness is going to the University of River Falls, majoring in music. Caitlin Krim is off to Washburn University, majoring in forensic science. I had to ask her, where is Washburn? I had never heard of it. I learned something this week. It's in Topeka, Kansas. Rosetta Eben is going to the University of St. Thomas to major in biology and finance. Sarah Ford is going to the University of Minnesota to major in psychology. Britta Holter is going to the University of Northwestern St. Paul to major in kinesiology. Sharjani is going to Stanford University to major in physics. Braden Klein is going to Morehead State University in Kentucky to study kinesiology. Nora Kurth is going to the University of Wisconsin-Madison to study neurobiology. We'll turn it over to Mrs. Bergstrom for the rest.
Keegan Kuhl is going to University of Wisconsin-Madison to study animal and veterinary biosciences. Max Lenzen is going to University of Wisconsin-Stout to study psychology. Ava Milligan is going to University of Tennessee at Chattanooga for pre-law. Gunnar Norden is going to University of River Falls to study music. Jace Olson is going to Carleton College to study biology. Maddie Robinson is going to University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire to study physics. Jager Rudebush is going to South Dakota School of Mines and Technology for Mechanical Engineering. Tempe Sirik is going to Iowa State to study biology on the pre-dermatology track. Bennett Tank is going to University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire for music education. Abigail Underwood is going to University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire for music education. Lee Ehrman is entering the workforce. Carolyn Waldall is going to UW-Eau Claire for elementary ed and theater/art. And Ben Weaver is going to University of Florida for engineering and music. Please give it up for our seniors.
I'm Maddie,
And I'm Sarah.
and we're seniors this year. And on behalf of the class of 2025, we'd like to thank our lovely band directors for their hard work. Ms. Bergstrom was kind of thrown into our program this year, but she has become a wonderful addition, bringing light and laughter to the band group. She has easily fulfilled a position that has not been easy to fill. She's only been here for a few months, but she's already built so many relationships with the students. And I certainly appreciate her silliness and her toleration for my sass. We are so sad that we won't get to learn from you as much as everybody else, but we know that you will have such an impact on so many students in years to come here at Hudson. Thank you for all that you've done and will continue to do. Now for the ball The band program would not be what it is without McCarthy, and I think everybody knows that. He's part of the reason that I personally have had such a positive high school experience. The goofy environment of the band program is unmatched, and that is because of his welcoming vibe. Sure, he gets on everyone's nerves here and there, but at the end of the day, we wouldn't be where we are now without him, and so for that, I'm grateful. We have these three. Aww. Thank you.
I've been told that a person will never truly know the impact they've had until looking back on their life way down the road, and although that may be true, we can certainly try and show them many ways. So, McCarthy, us seniors would like you to know that you have impacted us in many different ways. From the annoyance of playing the same measure for the billionth time in class, or driving through horrific weather to get to a concert, or the appreciation of picking a piece that we actually like, have influenced us in one way or another. But more importantly, we would like to thank you for your dedication to not just the program itself, but for every one of us who has walked through those band room doors. You have filled our lives with music, which is such a gift that we'll continue to keep giving no matter where we go in this next chapter of our lives. So a special shout out to Bennett Tank for arranging this gift that is only fitting for a man of your height. Unfortunately, okay. Unfortunately, it didn't arrive on time, but as seen in this picture in the envelope, we've gotten you a baton that is literally almost taller than you. Yeah, sure. For a teacher whose heart is bigger than his head, we had to give you a physical representation of how important that is to us. In the meantime, please enjoy this vintage 1984 Van Halen record for your troubles, and please remember we will always be grateful. Remember, we will always be grateful for these past years that we've
I'm literally doing it. Can I zoom in on this so you get, yeah, really? I'll be around after the concert if you want to see this thing. It's huge. That is incredible. So to all the seniors, I meant what I said. Yeah, we've been waiting. If I said, yeah, why don't you guys stick around a little while longer, I think all of you go, yeah, no thanks. And we've been building to the day that you guys are leaving since the day that you got here, but, well, all those words are very kind. I couldn't have done it without you guys. I mean, you guys have changed the face of this program. You really have. And this program is much better than it was when you guys got here nearly 4 years ago. From the bottom of my heart, I say thank you because you guys made it all happen. So one more time for the seniors, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we're almost done talking, I promise. But we have to give out what we refer to as the Big Dog Awards. In a lot of band rooms across the country, these awards are commonly given. There's the John Philip Sousa Award, the Louis Armstrong Jazz Award, the Director's Award for Band. And around these parts for the last number of years, one of the biggest awards that we give out is the Connie Root Music Education Scholarship, named for what I refer to as the patriarch of this program, Connie Root. We started this scholarship when she retired because much like when I was talking about Linda Peterson and her impact on the state, no one has worked harder to make music succeed and be amazing in this community the way that Connie Root has. And so while she finished her teaching career, we wanted to make sure that her name was going to remain front and center for decades and decades to come. So we started the Connie Root Scholarship. And I believe Connie is here tonight. And if she is, would you please help me? Here to present this year's Connie Root Scholarship.
I'm still here. Right, I have a script, because I know, otherwise it's gonna get. First, I would also like to congratulate the seniors. This is kind of weird for me. This is my first time standing up here that I have not taught any of these students. I know, I do know some of them though, from subbing and shelling. Yeah, coming to my house for lessons, a few people coming to have lessons with my husband. So congratulations to the seniors. Even though I have not had the pleasure of teaching you, I've been coming to, I think I've only missed 1 or 2 concerts in the last 4 years, 5 years. So I've been hearing you, and you sound just marvelous. Keep up the great work. As you know, we've talked about it today, and we're going to talk about it just briefly. Music educators wear many hats, and I'm almost talking to the recipient of the scholarship. A lot of you are going into music, which is just wonderful. And you wear many hats, from, I taught beginners, teaching them how to hold the instrument and posture and all that stuff, to all the glorious things that you're hearing tonight at the concert. But I think one of the things that, and it really came to my mind this weekend, I went to an alumni band event at UW Eau Claire. I mean, I'm not young, I'm 71, and we played in a band of alumni. I wasn't the oldest, but I was almost the oldest. The graduates were from college, 1970 through 2023, and it was just wonderful. The 4 directors were the 2, right now, directors at the university, and the other 2 were directors that I had 50 years ago. And we played Elsa's, and I'm sitting next to one of my really good friends who's 2 years older than I, and we got done with the piece, and it was so emotional. We just looked at each other, we both had tears in our eyes. We couldn't speak. It was just so emotional. So for all of you guys, do not stop playing your instruments. I've said this many times, I will play it until someone pries it out my trumpet, out of my hand going, you should probably stop. Because music is so important. And the thing that I want to just bring up, and you said something earlier, Ryan, is the connection through the music. When you guys go to your high school class reunions, you're gonna be standing there talking to people and go, hey, we were all in band together. Because you're with that same group of people, and you really make these relationships and connecting through that music. So just keep it up. We're going to make the announcement here in a second, but I wanted to recap what the previous recipients are doing. And I don't think she came. She was going to come tonight, but the weather was kind of icky. So Logan Harkness was the first recipient. Logan, are you here? 2019 recipient, she graduated from Gustavus Adolphus with a music education degree. She is now teaching music explorations and orchestra at the Lakes International Academy in Forest Lake, and she texted me today, and I'm gonna come and work with her kids on either Thursday or Friday. Nick McCarthy is the 2021, we skipped a year of COVID, 2021 recipient majoring in music education at UW Eau Claire, who will be student teaching in the fall of 2025. I just saw him, I know he's here, and I'm gonna just shout you out in front of all these people. He won the conducting competition and got to conduct at a concert on Friday night, part of our alumni thing. And it was fantastic. He was fantastic with the stick, conducting the top band at the college. Bravo, Nick. Esme Mercandale was the 2022 recipient. She's majoring in music ed at the U of M, and she will be student teaching next spring, music ed. Cohen Boligue, 2023's recipient, majoring in music at UWRF. I played a concert with him a few months ago. And last year's Dominic Burning, 2024's recipient, attends UW-Madison, majoring in music composition. He and I have been kind of messaging back and forth, and he sent me some of his compositions. My hope is that the recipient of tonight's scholarship continues to foster their own passion for music and will inspire others to do the same. If you are able, please contribute to the scholarship fund in order to continue and to encourage our Hudson High School students to pursue music. There's a check actually into this year. It's just a prop last year. Inspire others to do the same. Tonight's scholarship recipient has been very active in all facets of the band program. They have attended music camps, performed in the pit for 3 musicals here in Hudson, and were members of the WSMA Honors Band. Upon graduation, they will attend UW Eau Claire, pursuing a degree in music education. Would you please join me in congratulating the recipient of the Connie Root Scholarship, Abby Underwood.
I promise, we're almost done. There are 3 awards that we need to give out to finish this up tonight. One is the Director's Award for Band. And the Director's Award goes to a person or people in the band that have made just a huge impact and have made their mark and made the band program a better place to be and a better thing for all who are involved with it for the program to continue. So tonight we are giving away not 1 but 2 Director's Award for bands. Would you please help me and congratulate our first recipient of the Director's Award for Band, Rosetta Eben.
The next recipient is Bennett Tank.
Our next award is the Louis Armstrong Jazz Award, and it is given to one, if not our top jazz student in the program. And while the jazz program has undergone some pretty big upheaval, this particular individual has been rock steady all year and just brings a lot of energy, a lot of fun, and just a great spirit to the group. And we're going to miss him terribly. Our Louis Armstrong Jazz Award winner, Sharp Johnny. And our last award, named for a true pioneer in the band world, John Philip Sousa. There are John Philip Sousa's award in every program that I'm aware of in the entire country, given away to the outstanding senior. Tonight we actually couldn't narrow it down, so we're giving 2 away. And so here to present the first John Philip Sousa Band Award is Ms. Bergstrom.
The first recipient is Benny Binks.
And our second award winner, Ben Weaver. Okay. Here's the secret. We really didn't need to give out all those awards, but I needed to give the trumpet players a chance to rest their chops. So now that has, I'm kidding. We have 1 piece left for you. There's great news and a little bit of bad news, so I'll start with the bad. It's 6 movements long. But if you've been to our concerts before, this is not the longest piece we've played all year, not even close. It's shorter by 5 minutes than the longest piece that we've played. So just hold your applause till the end. I'm thrilled to introduce this piece. It is the cornerstone piece of the wind band repertoire. Everything that bands play is judged against this piece as to how good it is and how long it will stand up. Percy Grainger wrote this piece back in the early 1900s. He actually went to Lincolnshire, England, and met with townspeople and collected all of this folk music by literally putting one of the earliest phonographs strapped to his back, 50 pounds, and carried a microphone around and said, "You know the song, Lisbon?" Well, sure I did. Great, sing it. And he'd hold out the mic and he'd record it. And then he took all of those tracks and put them to a band setting. And so it's entitled Lincolnshire Posy because it came from Lincolnshire, and he thought that posies grow like wildflowers. So all 6 movements are basically like music wildflowers. They're different, they're their own thing, but it's an absolutely wonderful piece. We're gonna give them 10 seconds to blow some air through their horn. We're gonna play 1 tuning note, and then we're going to play Lincolnshire Posey. Can't thank you enough for coming tonight. Enjoy yourselves, have a wonderful summer, and stick around till the end because this is going to be amazing. Thank you.